What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and we have a lot to talk about today. We're talking about FAMI Stock, FAMI, SOFI Stock, SOFI, and PROG Stock, PROG. So let's take a look at FAMI first, because this one actually has some good news, and it's an interesting chart that we've been forming lately, right? You can actually see that over the past 30 days, we have had a massive run-up, right? And then we ended up getting bounced down into this 40 to 37 cent range for a while before breaking down, bouncing off of 30, and now we're returning once again to this 37 to 40 cent range. Now, this is going to be a very important area for FAMI stock to see if we can actually continue trading in this range and eventually break out to the upside past 40 cents, which is the hope that a lot of people have in their minds, right? They're expecting that we'll maintain this 37 cent level, which you see we have been struggling to hold throughout the course of the day. We did manage to bump up above that during early morning trading, and we have been holding fairly well, right? Now, a lot of people are expecting that we'll start moving to the upside, maybe start doing a similar thing to what we've done with 37 cents at 40 cents, right? Just basically struggling to break it for a little bit before moving up even further. That's what a lot of people are hoping for because FAMI has had some good news come out just today, right? Basically, what happened with FAMI or FAMI is that they received international certification for two of their subsidiaries, for two of the products that their subsidiaries are selling, right? The Zhejiang FAMI Biotechnology Company and the Zhejiang FAMI Food Company. And basically what this means is that these products that these companies are selling have been internationally certified and will thus have a higher premium that they're able to sell for and a competitive advantage against other products that other companies are selling which aren't internationally certified. It's basically when you see like a stamp on a product that you're buying, it says certified by XYZ, that's basically what this is doing for them. And you are likely going to be buying a product that is certified by an international organization that you trust, as opposed to one that is not. So this is good for their business, and that's why they're bumping up a bit today, as well as the fact that they have had a bit of a rough ride. If you look at the short interest, you can actually get a picture painted for you of why they ended up dropping. You can see that right as they were increasing in price so much, so was short interest massively, right? And then shorts actually began to cover as soon as FAMI stock dropped down a bit. So if you look at this 10-day chart, you can see this is around where shorts really started shorting this thing, and you can see massive volume on this day. Especially if we change the chart a little bit, you can see that massive volume was coming in around here when shorts were basically just pushing FAMI down and down and down, and then likely around here is where they were covering their shares. And that was actually a relatively high percentage profit for them, right? If they were shorting at 40, 50 cents and then covering in the low to mid 30s, then that was a pretty good profit for them. So they were making some money on that. However, there is now a much lower short interest percentage as a percentage of the free float. It's only 11% right now, not super high, right? There is still the possibility to squeeze some of those guys out if we do end up getting pushed up a ton, especially off of good fundamental news. I think that we have seen, obviously a lot of good fundamental news for FAMI stock in the recent past. So I think that a lot of institutions might be a little wary of shorting this stock because they know that, it has been pushed down, especially if you look over the past year, this thing was just getting killed. So shorting it really might not be the most prudent idea because there is a lot of room that this thing has to run up, especially now that we have massive volume coming in. If you look at the volume chart down here, you can see massive volume on FAMI stock as of late. And that's likely because a lot of people realize this stock is trading for a very low valuation and has a lot of positive catalysts going for them, right? When we saw this massive pump up, that was on news that they were acquiring a lumber company, expanding their business model, and getting some new strategic partners for their product distribution network. So there is a lot of good stuff that FAMI has going for them. And I think that a lot of investors are realizing that, and shorts are actually likely going to be exiting their positions in the near future, in my opinion, right? Because they probably realize, as you've seen, this massive dump in short interest of about 5% of the short interest. It basically dumped right off of not that massive of a crash in the stock price, right? It was a decent profit for them. If we look, let's back up to the 10-day chart, you can see it was a decent profit, but it wasn't a massive profit, right? They didn't actually get driven down to new lows, which is what you often see shorts trying to do with a lot of these stocks that get heavily shorted. Shorts oftentimes want to push them way down, even lower than the previous lows they were at. But I think that a lot of shorts realize that's probably not going to happen with FAMI stock. That would probably be pretty tough to do because the fundamentals are starting to justify a much higher stock price, at least in my opinion. And they likely don't want to get caught in a situation where they get stuck and the price is just moving up off of fundamental news, right? They don't want to be stuck in that kind of a situation. So I will point out that FAMI currently has no options trading for it. So we could actually see some additional positive catalysts for it, just on a technical level with the potential for a gamma squeeze if we do get some options listed for it. If we get some call option buying power, I think a lot of people would be interested in buying options for this stock. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see what happens with it. We have seen, stocks like CEI get options added for them after a big pump up in price and after increased interest. And we are seeing a similar pattern with FAMI, right? We are seeing massive increase in volume over the past about a month. So it's very possible that institutions and market makers will likely start adding options to this stock and start selling those to us. So that's something to watch out for. Now, the next stock, SOFI Stock, very interesting company. I made a video about it a while ago. I think this company is very promising, right? I'm looking at this company over the long term. And if you look at it like that, you can see that they already have risen quite a bit. And they're currently bouncing off of this $14 level that they hit about 2 months ago. And they've just been moving up and up. Now, the reason that this company is up, if you look over the past couple of days, you can see it was up massively, about 14% just yesterday. The reason is SOFI stock actually jumped when Morgan Stanley initiated coverage and put a $25 price target on the stock. So they are very bullish on it. They just initiated coverage, put an overweighted rating on it, and said $25 price target. So they believe in this stock strongly. And I believe they have some kind of quote. They say, SOFI is unique. It is a challenger consumer finance company that is leading with lending, specifically refinancing a high-yield student loan into a lower rate. Now, everybody knows there are massive quantities of student loans out there, and if SOFI can capture that market, right, I believe there is over $1 trillion worth of student loans out there. If they can start capturing that market and become known as a great lender to refinance student loans with, that is very promising. I think that's what Morgan Stanley is thinking as well. So very promising company here. They do a ton of stuff. It's not just loans. They have banking, credit cards, all kinds of things. If you go to their site, you'll see a million different things that they do. And that is why this stock has been pumping up. And that's why I've been adding it to my long-term portfolio, right? This isn't just a pump stock, although a lot of people do treat it as such. A lot of people think that SOFI stock is just going to pump up relatively quickly and do some kind of, I don't know if they think it's a short squeeze. Let me actually look and see what the short interest is on SOFI, because I don't think they're thinking it's a short squeeze. I think they think it's more of a momentum play. Yeah, you can see the short interest is only about 14%. But on Reddit and Wall Street Bets, a lot of people have been talking about this stock as potentially a short squeeze, but also just a momentum play, which, I agree with. I think that we could be getting some good momentum, especially considering the fact that we are currently bouncing off of this very strong $14 level that we've bounced off of many times in the past. So we really could be moving up, and you can actually see, massive volume coming in just yesterday. We're already seeing massive volume today, because if you look at this volume bar, this is already kind of equal to what a lot of the previous days worth of volumes were, but trading has only been going on for about 45 minutes. So we're already seeing massive volume again today, making new highs at one point. If you look at the daily chart, you can see we made new highs for the recent past, even beating what we did yesterday. So this is a very promising one, right? I am very bullish on SOFI stock over the long term, especially. You can see that it is trending number 6 on Reddit and Wall Street Bets, relatively high, up 23 spots, up 524% mention-wise. So big stock on Reddit and Wall Street Bets. Lots of people are talking about it, helping to drive some fuel for this fire and just add more volume to the stock. I'm very bullish on it. I think that it's going places. You can also see that out of the 3 stocks that we're talking about today, out of FAMI Stock, SOFI Stock, and PROG Stock, SOFI is this red line. It is definitely the highest trending on Google. A lot of people are talking about this stock. It is, I'll give you guys the ranking. First is SOFI, then is PROG Stock, which we're going to talk about next, and then is FAMI Stock. So obviously a lot of people like SOFI. It's the most popular out of the 3 companies. And if you look at StockTwits, it is actually the number 10 trending stock on StockTwits. Now, the next stock that we're going to talk about is PROG, and it is number 6. However, that is a bit more of a momentum play. It was just up, I think, over 40 or 50% yesterday. We saw massive gains with it yesterday, so it is explicable why it is trending on StockTwits above SOFI stock, right? But PROG stock does also have a lot going for it. Let's take a look at the PROG stock chart and see what happened yesterday, right? Now, yesterday we actually made a video about this. When it was around $1.60, $1.50, somewhere around there, I think is when I released the video. And we ended up shooting up all the way. I believe we closed the day at $2.14 before shooting up even more in after hours to $2.34, and then in the pre-market to $2.46. Now, throughout the intraday day trading, right, in early morning, we ended up shooting up to highs of $2.37, which I believe, if you look at the past while is the all-time high that this stock has reached intraday. The previous high was at $2.20, so we've actually broken the new intraday trading record. So basically everyone has now had the opportunity to make money on this stock if they were holding from when this thing was at its previous high, right? Which I really like to see. I like to see that we're making new highs. Now, the reason that this stock ended up crashing in the first place when off of these highs was actually because of a direct stock offering. And that leads me to believe that there was likely a lot more fuel left for this fire that has been burning. It did take a couple of days to consolidate around the $1.30 level. We ended up using that as a very nice support level and bounced off of it the day before a big pump up. And we've actually been seeing massive volume since then. If you look at the volume charts, you can see that in the first 30 minutes of trading today, we've traded about 53 million shares of this stock. And yesterday, when we were up about 50%, we were only traded about 17 million shares in the first 30 minutes of trading. We've traded a lot more volume in this stock than we have in the past. So I think this stock is looking very promising, especially if you look at the options. You can see there are massive quantities of open interest call options, and these could definitely be helping to fuel the fire that is the rise of this stock, right? You can see 36,000 open interest call options at the $2 strike price, which we just ended up hitting near the end of yesterday, right? We bumped up above $2 during market close. We were getting very close to it prior in the day, but we ended up shooting above and just continuing this meteoric rise. And that's actually likely contributed to a lot of the rise that we've seen in pre-market and during the day today, because institutions are going to have to start buying up shares of this stock if they want to cover those open interest call options, right? A lot of those call options were likely naked, and institutions will have to cover those with shares of the company, especially as that strike date gets closer. I believe the strike date is October 15th. Now, you can see that on StockTwits, once again, I already mentioned this when I was talking about SOFI Stock, but just in case anyone wasn't watching that section, PROG Stock is number 6 on number 6 trending on StockTwits. So very high ranking, right? It could be higher. Obviously, I think if it was still continuing its massive pump up, if we were up on the day, which we are about 4%, but if we were up massively, I think that we would still be probably trending higher on StockTwits. I think that a lot of people would have taken more interest in it. You can see, let's get rid of some of these stocks just to help clear the chart out a little bit now that we're just talking about PROG. But you can see PROG has been trending up, right? We were actually trending much higher in Google today than we were yesterday, even when we had that massive spike up. So there is still growing interest in PROG stock, as you can see on Google Trends, right? We are still moving in an upwards direction, and it's very likely that if this thing keeps pumping, which we are up 6% today, so we are doing fairly well. We're getting very close to highs of day. Then people will probably continue pouring into the stock, right? Because it still has potentially a very long way to go, right? Over the past year, you can see we were trading at highs of $9.48, and we're currently trading at $2.26. So you can see massive volume has come into this stock, which has succeeded in pushing us up quite a bit off our lows of 66 cents. It's very likely that this could continue, right? Especially with these open interest call options becoming in the money. If more of them can become in the money, like the $2.50 open interest call options, there are 20,000 of those. There are 10,000 $3 call options out there and 28,000 $5 call options out there. So there are still a lot of call options that can be fueling this fire if we keep the momentum going. And as long as people don't paper hands this thing and drop out of it, then there really is the opportunity to ride this thing fairly high. Especially, let's take a look at Ortex and see what PROG stock has going for it short interest wise. I believe it's fairly high, right? 53%. That is fairly high. So there really is the opportunity, especially if we start getting this kind of a gamma squeeze situation, that this stock could rise enough to cause some kind of short squeeze, right? Because 53%, very high, right? Now, if you actually look at the market cap of PROG stock, it's about $300 million. So when you see the 50% short interest, that means that about $150 million worth of this $300 million is short. So $150 million to institutions, it's not the largest amount, I'll admit, right? That's why we're going to need to see some kind of gamma squeeze situation to help push this thing up, because the short interest has just been rising, right? Institutions have been trying to push this thing down by shorting it. They've been unsuccessful thus far, right? Maybe they were a little bit successful when this thing was getting shot down, but that was mostly because of the direct stock offering news. Since then, we have been shooting up in price, and institutions have been unable to combat that. Now, the open interest call options, like I said, are very important for this stock. We're really going to want to see a lot more of these strike prices become in the money, which will pressure institutions to buy up more shares. And we're actually going to want to see, future strike dates becoming in the money as well, right? Because these future strike dates, on October 15th, which is in 3 days, all of these call options are going to expire and they will no longer have much of an influence on the price. So we're really going to want to see a lot more of these future strike dates gaining a lot of open interest call options as well if we want this thing to rally for more than just a couple of days. Granted, if we rally enough over the next couple of days, we could see some kind of short squeeze situation, which really could push us up quite a bit because that 150 million could turn into a lot more if we double or triple this stock price, right? So there really is the opportunity to squeeze some institutions with this one. Obviously, the rug could always get pulled, so be careful with this. You don't just want to blindly put a ton of money in. It's not a guarantee. I know we've been saying very bullish things, but that doesn't mean that this stock price has to go up. Obviously, none of what I say in these videos is financial advice. I'm just giving you guys my opinion on the stocks. But this is a very promising one to look at, especially after the massive run that we saw yesterday. Now, that's pretty much what I have for you guys with these stocks. If you've enjoyed the video, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Other than that, guys, have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.